This podcast is recorded on Gadigal, Turrbal and Yagara land. We pay our respects to the traditional custodians past and present and to any First Nations people listening.
Hello and welcome to the Brand Odyssey podcast. I'm Miranda and
And I'm Kylie Hannaford and we're from brand agency 3 Blocks Left. For new listeners, our podcast is about design, branding, and the creative universe. Each episode, Miranda and I tell each other either a story where creativity has triumphed or where creativity has fallen down, taken a tumble. And we call these our creative makes and breaks, and we are on a break this week.
Yes, that's with you, Kylie. You've got a story to tell me. But first, we're going to start off with a little bit of personal make and breaks from our own life so you can just keep up to date with the going on. And unfortunately, the going ons in my life have been a bit quiet. So not much has happened, which I guess is a good thing. Just been your stock standard couple of weeks where I have just been living the suburban dream. But what we'll do in those situations where nothing interesting enough to share has come up is just revert to TVs and movies. So
I love a good recommendation.
Kylie, you really, when you had your White Lotus, that was more like a whole personality takeover, wasn't it?
It really did become my whole life.
And all you could talk about for the whole of that season, or at least everything could be related back. Actually, my favourite moment from you is when you went overseas recently to Morocco and posted you and your friends lounging by the pool, and you'd actually made your full transformation into Jacqueline and what were they called?
Jacqueline, Laurie and Kate.
Yeah, so who were you, by the way, out of your three travellers? Did you guys discuss that on holiday?
Well, they hadn't watched White Lotus, which took them down the friend ladder, I will say.
And also for you, would have made conversation difficult.
It was tricky, yeah. I was like, that is literally all I have to talk about. So, and again, I've brought it up again. So White Lotus and cars are just my two new personas, yeah.
But yeah, you posted that picture and what did you write? You said something like...
Oh, White Lotus season 4.
And it was 100, but you guys were in this bougie Moroccan desert pool looking exactly like them.
We did. 3 blonde blobs.
It was a little concerning. Were you am I just living a script? Is this what's happening?
And in fact, there were these English toffs next to us and they actually said, it's like we're on a season of White Lotus.
Amazing.
I was like, yeah, we are.
I'm a cliche.
Yeah, I really am. I've gone into Mike White's world.
It's funny when you realise sometimes in life you are just following a script. You're like, I'm not original. Everyone's doing this. But anyway, my book recommendation. So I was in Target last couple of weeks ago and I was looking for a book and the selection was small and I hadn't pre-researched or anything. And then I just picked up this one called The Wedding People. And it's very good. I know it probably sounds kind of rom-com-y, but it's not. It's like a black comedy. And basically the premise is this poor girl, the main character, has had her whole life fall apart and she basically wants to top herself, but she decides to do it at this very fancy hotel, black comedy. And at the hotel, there's been a clash and this other girl who's very wealthy has organised her $30,000 week-long wedding affair and the whole hotel is filled with wedding guests and it just causes this random conflict between these two characters. For example, she actually goes to do it and what she's taken is her cat's sedatives and so she opens up the thing and she's like, oh, it smells so fishy. It's that kind of everything's going, it's a bit Faulty Towers, everything's going wrong. I really recommend it. It's written in a very page-turny, dark humour way, which I think is hard to sometimes capture in a little book.
Yeah, that's right up my alley. I love that. Love dark humour.
Yeah, very much. I could, sometimes you're reading a book and you're like, I can see this straight to TV, straight to movie. Very funny. So yeah. That is my make recommendation, a new genre.
What is it called again?
The Wedding People. That makes it sound like Leanne Moriarty, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
It's
Rachel's
not.
getting, what was that one? Rachel's Getting Married? No,
Rachel's Holiday.
Holiday, that's right.
Bloody love that book. I've read it twice.
I actually haven't. I tried listening to it on audiobook, but I Funnily enough, because I love podcasts, but audiobooks, I just tune out. I don't know what it is. I think it's just having that one person read the book kind of makes me either lull into a sleep or just boop.
Yeah, I don't do audiobooks. The podcast genre is very strong, though, I'd say.
Yeah, me too. Well, I'm doing a make as well. There's this store in Balmain, which is a suburb in Sydney, and you can rent a rack. So me and my friend rented a rack, and you get 40 pieces, so 20 pieces each.
One of them is mine.
One of them is yours.
I just sent one token dress to Kylie to sell for me.
Yeah. So they're all sitting there waiting to find their new owners, and it's just been really fun. Like, it's quite addictive. It's all got like an app that you can download, and so they sell your products for you essentially, and you get a little cha-ching notification.
How many have you sold?
I've sold 6 pieces.
Wow.
Yeah.
How much cash are you getting? Does it give you like a sort of balance? Exit balance?
So let me have a look. 380.
That's pretty amazing.
But they take a 30% cut, so it'll be less than that. But yeah, it's been really good. Just like, part of the circular fashion economy and, secondhand, and, like, it's not like that's like a life-changing amount of money, but it's been a bit of fun.
I think you were saying like you'll probably get more gratification from your $500 you leave with than 3 months of pay.
Yeah, like there is something about it that is
bonus pay.
Yeah, it's just like there's a different mentality around it for some reason.
Selling your wares feels very good. I have sold a few things recently, but I'm very, very lazy and I hate going to a post office. So I think that would be actually quite a good system for me to hock off a big bunch. I've talked about it with my sister and friend Alex that we do a stall together, but we just haven't got around to organising.
It is a lot of effort. Like I spent like all day Sunday like steaming all the clothes,
curating,
and blah, 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 curating, blah, blah, blah. If you look at like my hourly rate that I charge at work and then my hourly rate for like steaming all my clothes, like I'm running at a loss, but it's a different headspace.
Yeah, and it's a nice little weekend hobby even.
Yes, exactly. Today, as promised, I have a break case study. I'm not going to give you clues because you're just never going to guess this one because
You are very radical against the clues, I'm noticing. You're just like, the clues never work. Let's just lead into it.
The clues make it awkward.
Yeah.
Well, do you want me to give you a clue?
Yeah, give me a clue.
Okay, so it's not a brand. It's a public art installation.
Okay, just tell me what it is.
Okay. So it sits at the intersection of two of my favourite things, which is why I was immediately drawn to it, the Irish and the turn of the millennium.
These are your two favourite things. I have heard you talk about the Irish more than the turn of the millennium.
As you know, I love Irish people. I love Ireland. I just think they're the funniest people on the planet. Never met an Irish person I didn't love.
I was going to say, imagine being Irish and not being funny. That would be so you'd be letting everyone down, or like everyone would just like immediately expect that you're going to be hilarious. Have you ever met any Irish people who aren't funny?
No, I don't. I genuinely don't think so. Even when they're not necessarily trying to be funny, they're just funny. I think they get trolled from birth, and so they like build up this kind of, it's in their culture, self-deprecation, which, you don't get away with much in my family. So I think I appreciate that humor where it's just like teasing and that kind of thing. I love how the Irish say, "Come here to me."
What does that mean? I'll come here.
You know how we might say, "Oh, hey, I was thinking the other day." Or like if they've got something to tell you, they'll say, "Come here to me."
That is very nice. And you did it well.
Thank you. I was practicing yesterday while I was finishing these notes up. I was like, "Come here to me. Come here to me."
I'm going to be able to do this.
You can do it, Kylie. Just because Miranda can do a really amazing German accent doesn't mean that you can't. Level up.
Good job.
So I came across this case study through friends of the pod and also in real life friends, Nicola and Tom, and they were very quick to offer up this story when we launched the podcast. So
this is our first recommend from the people.
It is. It is. So shout out to Nicola and Tom. As I said, we're going back to the turn of the millennium and the years preceding that. So kind of 96 to 1999, and I don't know if you remember this, but it was a very optimistic time. Like, even though there was like all this fear about the Millennium bug destroying all our computers and,
How
our
cute.
Nokia 3210s, becoming sentient, there also was this like, let's party like it's 1999, like a lot of optimism for the future.
I was a little young. Like, I would have been 14, the year 2000, around that. So like, I was just living in my preteen bubble. I didn't know what was happening. I had no optimism apart from optimistic.
You were probably generally optimistic just
I
about.
was just optimistic to get some Maccas at the Westfield.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So to mark the turn of the millennium, Ireland's National Lottery, which is this hugely popular lottery system in Ireland, but they donate a lot of the funds that they make to good causes.
That's nice.
Yeah. So they held a competition for a public artwork, and they wanted it to be a clock to be displayed in Dublin.
Just to clarify, so we're in Ireland, 1999.
Sorry, 1996.
Clock artwork, Dublin.
Yes.
Public artwork. Okay.
Yes. And the idea is that we want to count down to the millennium.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't going to be put out into the world until the year before, I'm guessing, or?
There was no restriction on that.
Oh, a very long countdown.
Yeah, 4 years. That's what I mean. There was a lot of optimism.
That's I feel like a countdown clock needs to be a year. A 4-year countdown clock is just taken too long.
Yeah, as it turns out, it was.
I was like, is this one of many problems, I'm guessing?
So the competition was called Countdown 2000, and it had a £10,000 reward to the winner. So the winning entry was designed by 2 architects called Grania Hassett and Vincent Ducates, and it was known as the Millennium Clock. It was a 6-tonne installation, and basically it was a giant digital clock. They call it a clock, but it's more of a counter, really.
Okay.
And it had 9 panels with those, big green digital numbers counting down the seconds to the year 2000.
Ooh, seconds. Okay, so it wasn't like days.
No, it was seconds. So It was 119 million seconds.
Okay. My 5-year-old has this obsession with, like, say if you're in the car, how long until we get here? And I'll say 5 minutes. How many seconds in 5 minutes? 300 seconds. I know a lot about seconds now, like how many seconds in 10 minutes, how many seconds in, then he'll be like, how many seconds in an hour? So that's a new one for him. How many seconds in 4 bloody years? Say it again.
119 million.
Try counting that down, Henry.
Yeah. Just next time you say, are we there yet? No, just say no. It'll be 119 million seconds. So if you just start counting and let me know when you get to 1 million, buddy, then I'll let you know where we're at. It was 1.9 meters high and 7.8 meters wide. As I mentioned, 6 tons, so huge beast. And it cost £250,000 to construct.
Okay.
So, like, from first glance, kind of interesting, kind of cool. Like,
kind of fun. I like it.
Bit of fun, very accessible. So the next part about it is that it was to be displayed submerged under the surface of the River Liffey. So that is the river that runs through Dublin and on the west side of O'Connell Bridge in the city centre. So it was kind of this like floating digital clock.
I imagined it as you were talking, never seen this thing, never heard of it. For me, it was going to be like right in the centre of town, up on one of like a beautiful old building, like a little bit of modern architecture on an old, beautiful building that everyone drives past every day, not underneath water.
Yeah. In addition to this and to create like that viewer engagement, there was a postcard dispenser placed nearby where you could put your 20p in and a little postcard would be dispensed and it had the exact number of seconds left at that moment that you were there until the year 2000. And I really like this idea. I think it's kind of cool and dynamic, personalized souvenir.
I was going to say, I feel like we're still doing that kind of marketing today. Like that might have been a bit avant-garde at the time.
Absolutely. Like that personalization is very ahead of its time, as you say. This is the last time I'm going to mention this particular piece of the installation because it's kind of just bizarre and like a real example of taking things just a step too far. So it had this strange additional feature where it was like a set of speakers added to it somehow, which would play recorded noises of Dublin City every 30-second intervals.
So the sound of the city was being played on top of the sound of the city.
Exactly. I'm like, this would make more sense if you weren't in the city centre. So it was like meant to be the clank of Guinness barrels on pavements, foghorns, seagull cries, and the calls of more street traders. Can you imagine that coming out of a tinny speaker out of the water? That would be really a massive punish.
I can't actually imagine speakers coming out of the water, full stop.
That's fair. That's a fair comment. This counter was officially switched on the 15th of March 1996, and as I said, it had 119 million seconds till the start of the 21st century. There was like a huge big city celebration with fireworks and fanfare and no doubt some Guinness consumed, and was even live, well, not live streamed, but just shown live on the Late Late Show, which is their late show in Ireland. So a lot of optimism, a lot of revelry going on about this. And I'm going to go against basically 97% of Reddit and say I quite like this idea in theory.
So Reddit not on board. I mean,
Reddit,
look,
not a fan.
Is it all good apart from the water?
People don't even really love the digital clock necessarily. Yeah.
Oh, what's wrong with the clock?
I think the clock's kind of cool and interesting. I like that it's quite modern. It's quite a good fusion of, as we approached the year 2000, it was like that kind of technology and future. And so I really like that fusion of technology and art and public space.
And like I did say, it's a long countdown, but like we mentioned, like it's a big deal to go from 1999 to 2000. Like that is, not everyone gets to go through that.
No, exactly. I think that was it. I think we all knew what a special time it was. And I really like the personalized postcards. Honestly, if I was there, I know I would have definitely got at least one of those postcards and would still have it lying around somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind a postcard. I've got a whole drawer full of them.
Yeah, I love merch. I love souvenirs.
So yeah, I like that. I like that. Like new, modern, and memorable, all those things.
I know that the second I mentioned the river, you're like, I think that feels like a strange thought. But like take away the water and electronics not meshing that well perspective. I do like that it's, embedded right into the lifeblood of the city. Like, these rivers.
Conceptually. I kind of was imagining it like on some stilts sticking out the top of the water so you can still see it. Like this whole thing with water is once something goes underwater, it distorts how it looks. So how are you meant to see
Well, it was just under. It wasn't like on the bottom of it. It was just under it.
Okay, so it's literally underwater. So it's like...
It is submerged.
And is it lit up?
Yeah. It's lit up.
That looks amazing. This is not a break. This is a make. I mean, day less impressive, but that's okay. Like things are allowed to be more impressive in the evening, such as the Gold Coast sign. If anyone wants to listen to our very
episode
first
number
episode,
1,
it was a public artwork gone wrong with a light up word that could not be read with the way the traffic was going. But this is legible underwater. So I take back what I said, and I think it looks really, really cool.
Yeah, exactly. These old, historic cities like Dublin, like London, they were settled because they were near the river, right? A river runs through it. So the river was the lifeblood and what made the city a city. It could, use the river to transport goods, to drink, blah, blah, blah. So
you're not drinking the river.
Well, back in the day you did.
In the nighttime one, it looks like exactly like as if a digital clock, and you can't see the box or anything. It just looks like the numbers of a digital clock are glowing out of the river. Like it looks very, almost you're like, how is that even possible that they created that?
You've turned around. Sadly, it didn't take long for the Millennium clock to start unwinding.
Nicely done.
Thank you. To start with, as it turns out, Dubliners actually use the River Liffey a fair bit in their recreation. So incredibly bad planning. So they launched it on the 15th of March. 3 days later, they had to uninstall it for an annual boat race that's scheduled every year. So they unveiled it,
They took it
thousands
away.
and thousands of people come out, fireworks, blah, blah, blah. Oh, we have to uninstall it literally 3 days later. Anyway, the Irish Times, which is kind of like our Sydney Morning Herald, satirically reported that an English magician called Paul Daniels had made it disappear while he was in Dublin. But yeah, look, it got reinstalled. We all make mistakes, a little blip, we crack on. But within a few weeks, 2 more major problems rose to the surface. So, number one, it became clear that, as I said, water and electronics just don't mix.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't actually thought about how it is working, how they managed to even turn it on underwater.
The interface of the clock was not as watertight as they had hoped, and the display started glitching. Sometimes it froze, it started resetting itself, and therefore most of the time had the incorrect amount of seconds displayed, which is kind of the bare minimum for the concept to work.
Yes.
And sometimes it would even create its own symbols, and occasional swastika-like symbols would show up.
It's gone rogue. The water has gone into the mainframe, and it's like got a mind of its own now.
The second thing is that the River Liffey, as most city rivers are, was pretty dirty and full of silt and algae. So it wasn't long before you couldn't actually see the clock at all. Divers had to be sent down weekly to scrub the algae off it.
Can you imagine that job ad? I'm guessing, Seek wouldn't exist back then, but it's basically like divers need for algae scrubbing on giant clock, and you're like, that speaks to me.
It's very specific.
That is my skill set.
They talk about niching down. It's just like, I am niching down to a submerged neon clock algae scrubber.
And, it's always job creation, wherever it comes from is good.
I asked our friend, reporter on the ground, Nicola, if she had actually seen this clock. And she said, quote, I would walk over the bridge on the way to work or on a night out. It was basically a massive digital clock in the water. But gradually it just got covered with green algae and slime, and it looked like trash.
Oh, no.
Dubliners who absolutely, well, not just Dubliners, Irish people in general just love a denigrating nickname. So bookmark that, because I'm going to come back to it later. But they quickly began calling it either the chime in the slime or the time in the slime. They love a little bit of a rhyme moment.
The chime in the slime.
The chime in the slime.
Oh.
So the clock was removed multiple times to try clean and fix the problems. But by August, so 6 months later, they had to remove it for yet another public event, which, okay, this is a side note. It's called the annual River Liffey swim. I'm just like, why do you have a river swim in?
You're not doing that in the Brisbane River.
No.
I have actually been in the Brisbane River. I once went wakeboarding in the Brisbane River.
Wow. Did you get sick?
Out of character for me. No, I didn't get sick. I was just, the thing about the Brisbane River is it's known to have a few bull sharks in there. So you'd probably, every time I'd fall in, it was just like, for me, I was just like, get back up as soon as possible. Or it was just like, all I could think of was sharks. And then people don't swim in rivers. The chime in the slime says it all. It's not very hygienic.
Yeah, well, the Irish do. So the chime in the slime was removed, and they took the moment to kind of question whether this was a viable future project. So given they'd spent £58,000 on repairs and installation and removal, the lottery decided to call time on the chime in the slime.
Is that the headline? That's the Irish Times headline. Time on the chime in the slime. I would say that nothing bonds a city more than a failed public art project. Like, that is building that community spirit up more than if it actually was successful.
It's true. Why is that?
Because we can all, and like you were saying, I guess as well, like with the Irish style of like self-deprecating humour, it's like perfect for that. Like, we can all get behind laughing at the chime in the slime together.
I don't know how you got this, but I do actually have a quote from the Irish Times from the 6th of December.
Mhm.
1996. They said the underwater clock was removed at the end of August to make way for the annual Liffey swim, and consultants used this opportunity to try and solve the visibility problems that had clouded the gadget since it was installed last spring. People complained they could not read the green digits through the murky waters of the river. Yesterday, the lottery admitted that Anna Livia had won. Side note, Anna Livia is the colloquial name for the river.
Okay.
And the cost of solving the technical difficulties associated with the timer's visibility would be prohibitive. The clock was not reinstalled. It was damaged beyond repair. It was broken up and very unceremoniously sold for scrap, and
Oh,
is widely regarded as one of the biggest public works fiascos in Dublin.
I mean, if only they just put it up, like I said, 1 year before. It could have made a year. It was never going to last 4. That was too big of an ask for a clock that lived in a river.
Yeah, look, it didn't last a year.
No, it didn't even make it past 6 months.
Though, having said that, I guess if it was just like they got to 6 months and they were like, we just need to keep scrubbing it for another 6 months, maybe we can hang in there. So maybe it was the fact that they would have had to do it for another 3.5 years that actually made it unfeasible. So you're right.
They were looking at that divers roster and they're like, we're flying in divers from Australia. We're flying in divers from all around the world to be cleaning this clock. And, logistical nightmare, but conceptually strong. That's what we're finding with some of these public artworks gone wrong. It's like conceptually strong, logistical nightmare.
I just thought I would, approach this from a slightly intellectual point of view and did a bit of a dive on what makes good public art. And so from what I read, there's kind of 3 things. So you want community engagement and relevance. So that involvement, reflecting community aspirations, as well as physical and intellectual accessibility, which I feel that this concept did accomplish. Artistic merit and impact, so that visual appeal, drawing the eye, sparking interest, as well as being thought-provoking and getting viewers thinking about the world around them, which, again, I think that this concept did all of that. Tick, tick, tick. The third is where they fell down, the practical considerations. So that durability and the ability to withstand the elements that it is positioned within, that plan for maintenance and the consideration of the placement appropriateness.
Yeah, the placement is, when we think about our 2 public art stories now, this and the Gold Coast sign, it's the placement that has let them down.
Yeah, everyone got excited about the concept, which honestly, don't we always do that? You have this great idea and you go, oh my God, it could be this and we could with that and we'll do it and we'll put it underwater and we'll light it up. It'll be amazing. And let's make it 4 years instead of 3 years. Oh my God, we'll make postcards. We'll put sound on it. Cool, cool, cool. Everyone just gets wrapped up in it. And then it's oh yeah, you're putting a clock underwater. That's quite a feat.
That is the bit where you're just why? Why did that no one say stop? It's enough that you've got this amazing 1,000,000-second countdown that's giant. Why did you have to go underwater? Why did you have to make it that groundbreaking and that wild and that an impossible feat of human engineering, that's...
Yeah.
They just got greedy.
Yeah. But there also is a part of it that does make me feel like it is so well suited to that era, that optimism and trying new things and not being so scared of failure. There was no social media, so it's not you're going to go, these architects aren't going to get harassed online or...
I'm just why did they make it if it wasn't going to be shared on TikTok and Instagram? What was the point?
What was the point? What did we do?
I actually have been involved in a public artwork. It just came into my mind, and in my career, Brisbane has this giant Brisbane word made out of letters that sits next to the river, and it had to be wrapped in artwork. Each letter was like a collage of artwork. But yeah, logistically, where I was working, we were in charge of blowing up artwork to be printed giant size.
Wow.
And it wasn't easy working of super, super, super high res bits of artwork. And it's very shareable. People can climb on it and it gets photographed all the time. And it's by a river, not in a river. Tick, tick, tick.
But is it playing it safe?
A little bit. a little bit too safe.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I just kind of like, I like that they took a big swing.
They should have at least had some kind of water feature, like maybe it could be every 5 minutes it could have spurted fountains of Brisbane City water all over everyone or something, just like it did need some kind of water feature. I'll agree with you there.
I didn't say that.
Well, you just suggested more.
I didn't suggest more. I said that I liked that they took a big swing.
The Brisbane City.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant the Millennium clock. Right. No. I feel like Brisbane City could have
added a water feature, but no more water needed in the Millennium clock.
Yeah. Glad we sorted that out.
It didn't need a fountain.
It also did not need those sounds of Dublin City. Anyway, I do have 2 addendums that I wanted to discuss that pertain to the story, but not directly. So the postcard printing machine that was kind of just off the bridge was taken away too, but it left a space cavity in the footpath. And these Dublin chancers put up a fake bronze commemorative plaque for this fictional priest called Friar Pat Noyes, who they claim died in the Easter 1916 uprising. So it actually stayed there for years and outlived the Millennium clock for sure. And no one noticed it was a joke. And I thought that was pretty funny.
That's great. Just like some rogue pranksters managed to make a bigger impact on the city.
And then going back to Ireland's love for a denigrating nickname, I just wanted to finish on a list of some other public artworks that have earned some nicknames. They nickname absolutely everything.
Is this all from Dublin or around the world?
No, this is Dublin.
Okay.
So we have the floozy and the jacuzzi, the hags with the bags, the stiffy at the Liffey, the erection at the intersection, the stiletto in the ghetto, the flirt in the skirt, the trollop with the scallop, the tart with the cart, the prick with the stick, the crank on the bank.
So good. I'm just jealous that I don't live in a city that can get behind nicknaming public artworks so creatively.
The floozy in the jacuzzi.
Yeah, what is the floozy in the jacuzzi?
She was also in the river. So as I said, they call the river Anna Livia. It's like an old colloquial name for the river. And so then at some point they put this statue or a sculpture of this woman kind of reclining in the river. And then she had to be moved for some reason. And then anyway, they called her the floozy in the jacuzzi.
What about the stiffy at the Liffey?
It's like a big spear kind of building, like a Centrepoint Tower type scenario.
Okay. Yeah, because like boring old Australia call that a sky tower.
Yeah.
Can you think of any Australian ones?
I couldn't actually think of any.
I mean, in Australia, we do like to construct giant things. That's our genre, is like a giant prawn, a giant avocado, giant pineapple. We like that.
Yeah, I once went on a road trip with friends.
To see them all?
Yeah, we drove up the North Coast and we went to the more obscure ones. So we went to the big bull, the big oyster, the big prawn, the big peach.
Very Australian, isn't it?
Yeah, we went right out of our way. It was very funny.
I think that's funny. It's like just thinking about how like the Irish are known to be very funny people all around the world. Like that's kind of their reputation, a lot to live up to. But Australians, unfortunately, our reputation is that we're just... Do you think people think Australians are funny? Like, do we get that reputation?
I think so.
But it's a laugh at. A lot of it is a laugh at.
Yeah, maybe. The ray gun.
Ray gun. Oh, ray gun.
We do it to ourselves.
Yeah.
On that note, we're going to sign off for another episode. If you want more information, you can look at our Instagram, which is at Brand Odyssey Pod, or look at our website, 3blocksleft.com.au, and we will talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
And so ends another expedition into the lands of brands, brought to you by design and brand agency 3 Blocks Left.